How's she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's workshop. Thanks for dropping in. It's nice to see you all. Today I got a little video about my water systems here at the lake. I've had a lot of questions while I was building the boathouse about why we have the pump set up the way we do. Why is it a heated enclosure if I don't use it all the time? Why is it in the boathouse? Do I pump from the lake? You know, things like that. So what I'd like to do today is just talk a little bit about my water systems. So way back when we first built the camp, we decided that in order for us to be here, we need to have indoor plumbing. So to have indoor plumbing, we need water. So I set up a little pump, and I was pumping from the lake up to the camp here, and we had water for flushing the toilet. It was great, it worked good. But we wanted to be here all year round, so that water didn't work in the wintertime because the exposed water line just laying on the ground, it would freeze. So I had a friend of mine come and dig a trench with an excavator, dug a trench from down beside the lake there, all the way up to the camp. I buried my water line, and then I had him dig a hole adjacent to the lake there, about 6 feet deep. I put some well crock in there, 30-inch diameter concrete pipe, well crock, and then I put a top on that. I built a little heated enclosure around it, just a little 4x4 heated enclosure with a shed roof on it, and I put my water pump in there. So I was pumping from the well crocks now. I didn't have to worry about a line being exposed going down over the shore into the lake. I was pumping from those well crocks up to the camp. It was great. Also, the water in the well crocks was the same level as the lake because the dug well that I had there was so close to the lake. It was the same level, and the water was basically the same as in the lake. We have tannin in our lake. Tannin is a natural occurrence in nature when we have a lot of decaying leaves and plants and flora and things like that. Anybody's around lakes, they know that the lake is, very seldom is it clear water in it. It oftentimes has got a little brownish tinge, which is tannin. Tannin doesn't do anything to the water. It's not unhealthy. It's not contaminated. Just not nice to look at, especially when it's in the toilet. Yeah. But anyways, so we were dealing with the tannin in the water. We understood what it was, and it wasn't an issue for us. But anyway, we would pump this water from the crock up to the camp. We had that for like cooking in and washing our bodies. Couldn't drink it though. It was safe to drink. Just didn't look good, so we didn't drink it. So we used to bring our drinking water. But anyway, that was fine. We lived like that for a long time here because we were only coming on the weekends, so it worked out all right. Then one time I decided, we're going to move here to the lake. If we're going to move to the lake, we've got to have something better than this brownish colored water because we're going to be washing our clothes in it. Although the tannin in the water didn't affect the taste any, it did stain clothes if you washed them. So I had a bored well put in. Now our bored well is just out here back at the camp. I'll show you that in a minute. But the bored well is 186 feet deep. I get about 3 gallons a minute on that recovery, and the water comes about 20 feet from the surface, so I've got lots of capacity there, and it's good, clear drinking water. Not much taste on it, no taste on it in fact. Every now and then you'll get a little bit of a smell off it, like in the warmest parts of the summer, or when you heat the water up sometimes you'll get a little sulfur smell comes on it. There's a little bit of sediment in it from the type of soil that we have around here, but I have a filter that I put through, and that gets most of that if I change the filter regularly, and sometimes I don't do that. But anyways, we end up with the nice drinking water, potable water well. It's not hard either, that's another good thing, and we're lucky there. We have good water. So now I had potable water for inside, and I have this well down at the lake that we use that water now only for outside. Nanny has some gardens and some flower beds here that she used to keep them up just, look, some nice in here with all her gardens and whatnot, but she was always afraid of running out of water. So one day I decided, because this crock that was there, the water level in the crock was the same level as the lake, but you could pump that down. You could eventually pump that down so that the pump wouldn't draw from it anymore before the water would seep through the soil again and get back and fill those crocks. So I thought, instead of running the risk of running those well crocks dry watering the gardens, I'm going to put another suction line in to the lake. So that suction line comes out from under the boathouse, and I kind of buried it in the ground down to the lake, but then it's exposed from where it comes from the shore into the lake. So that's no good in the winter time because that'll freeze, of course, because the lake freezes. So what I ended up doing was putting a switching setup in there so that in summertime I can put the foot valve in the lake and switch over and pump from the lake, but in the wintertime I can pump from the crocks, and then we'll always have water. And then one of the questions I got was, why do you heat that space now if you have indoor water? You don't need that water in the winter. Why heat it? And I often ask myself that question too, but for the first couple of years we were here, well, not the first couple, but for a while when we were here, I used to make an outside rink on the lake. So I'd clear the snow off the lake, chop a hole in the ice, flood the lake. But I was finding our lake is not very deep and it tapers off slowly. Like even probably 20 feet, 30 feet from shores, it's still only, 6 feet deep, maybe 7 feet deep. And I was finding, like, to build my rink, I always built the rink close to shore, of course, to make it easy to get on. When I dug a hole in the ice, sometimes the lake was froze right to the bottom, or almost to the bottom. So the only water I was getting was dirty, old, gravelly water, and that wasn't much good for flooding. So I thought, well, if I have this heated enclosure, I can use the water from that to flood the rink. So that's the reason why I still keep the pump house well enclosure now heated, in case I need to flood the ice in the winter. But anyway, the crock down there now, I have a water line buried, like I say, up to the camp, and I've got several water outlets up here for watering, and that's outside water, only outside water, and we have the potable water for inside. So I do have an access point here on the camp for potable water, because there's some people on the lake that still pump their water from the lake, so in the wintertime when they come out they don't have access to water because all their water systems are shut down. So if anybody ever needs potable water, they can come here and draw themselves a bucket load from our camp. So anyway, that's the story of the heated enclosure and my well setup. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to go out and show you the potable water well, where that's located, and also we'll go down and look at the boathouse, and I'll try to explain a little bit about the plumbing that I have set up down there. All right, so let's go have a look. So over my shoulder here is a well. Guess what? In that well, I'll try and show you here. Well, there's the bucket there too, but below that there's the access to my bored well. And when they bored that well, there was just like about 10 inches of the well casing pipe sticking out of the ground. Nanny had built her garden around it, and it's kind of overgrown now because poor Nanny, she's not able to tend it like she wants to. That well pipe the casing pipe was sticking out of the ground there, and it was kind of ugly to look at. And I thought, well, because it's a well, why don't I build this little well enclosure around it? So we made this well enclosure, and I fancied it up a little bit and put the spool here, and the spool actually does work. And I had an old piece of rope, tied that bucket to it. I can try and sneak in here. We did have a little bit of a boardwalk here. So then I can turn this crank, turn it the right way at least, and it'll raise the bucket. There we go. So I built this well. I put cedar shakes on top, and they're covered with moss now. I don't know whether that's good or bad. I guess you could say that's picturesque, quaint. I don't know. But anyways, oh yeah, and I got loons on it. You got to have loons and everything around here. And I also put some lights around it, but I need to change the batteries in those lights. So it looks pretty nice at night. Needs to be painted. There's a little sign down in here that says Janet's Garden, but you can't see that because it's grown up so much. But anyway, that's the well for our inside potable water. So on this side of the camp here, this is the outlet for the potable water, and this is on the inside cove here. So we have access to potable water from the outside there. So I have multiple sources for outside water around the property. Here at Nanny's garden, and I apologize for the shape of the garden because we didn't do a garden this year. But over here at this little greenhouse, there's a water outlet there, and then I have a sink with a water outlet, and then running under that sink is a water line. Let me just show you. And then on the end of the bench here, I have this system set up so I can connect this tap to this, and that water line goes underground over to the garden. We have kind of raised beds in the garden. Hard to see them out here, I guess you can see it. But there's a little bit of a water line we'd like to show you. Right here, I've got one of these, it's a 1/2 inch water line. There's a stop valve in each one. Look at the ants, oh my. There's a 1/2 inch stop valve here, so this goes into a soaker hose so that I can water each waterbed independently, or Nanny could. So that was set up to do drip irrigation in the garden. So that was that one. I have a water outlet here at the back of the shop. There's another one on the far side of the shop. And then I have an outlet here at the back of the camp. And then around on the far side of the shop there, of the camp I mean, there's another water outlet, and I have a water outlet at the front of the camp. So lots of access to water up here. But that's what we wanted, right? We wanted to be close to water. We didn't want to have to drag a 100-foot hose around everywhere, so that's what it is. So now we're going to go down to the boathouse and have a look at the actual plumbing. Okay, here we are down in the pump enclosure in the well house. So this is my pump. It's a 1/2 horsepower shallow well pump. Works pretty good too, I must say. Brand new pump. I like it. So these are my, below us here, of course, is the well crock. This line here goes out to the lake, if you can see that. This big line here goes down into the well crock. So right now this valve is switched so that I'm drawing water from the well crock, because my line that goes out to the lake is disabled right now. So I have this valve, kind of hard to see there, but it's turned off. Also, I have a stop and waste valve over here, but out at the foot valve on this suction line that goes to the lake, I have another stop and waste valve. The reason for those is so that I can drain this suction line in the wintertime so that it won't freeze. I pull the foot valve out of the water in the winter, and I open the stop and waste at the foot valve, and then I come back in here and open this one, and then the water flows out of this right, and clears that line out. So it works good that way to keep it from freezing. But when I'm drawing water from here, I close this valve, close the one at the foot valve, of course, so there's no vacuum leaks, no suction leaks, and that it works good. So that's the purpose of these valves here, or that valve and the one that's outside. All right, so right now, like I say, I have a foot valve at the bottom of this 1.25 inch line that goes down through the hole into the well crock. So I'm drawing water out of there, through this T, into the pump. The pump pumps it out of there into the pressure tank. It's a 25, it's about a 5-liter pressure tank with 25 psi of air cushion in it, so that you can, that doesn't increase your amount of water, but it does give you more drawdown in the pump before the pump will start. So that fills up with that, and also it goes out of this big line here, and I have a valve right here that I can isolate all water with if I turn that valve off. But right now that valve is turned on, so then it continues there, it goes into a 3/4 inch line now, and it goes up here to this T, and then this elbow, and this goes out to the outside for an outside water here at the lake. But then it continues through that T. It goes through another valve here. You can't see it because it's behind this white valve with the red handle, but there's another valve there that's turned on right now, and that's the isolation valve that sends the water up the hill to the camp. So I have that turned on now because we're pumping from this. Also coming out of that hole, there's another black, looks like a black pipe. There I have my broom handle on it right now, but it's the power feed that goes up here and brings electricity down here to the pump enclosure. So that's the whole idea behind this. It looks complicated, but in actual fact it's pretty simple. I can either draw from the lake via this line if I isolate that valve and open this one, or if I isolate this valve and open that one, I can draw from the crocks, which is like I'm doing right now. So on the outside of the boathouse here, this is the access to outside water. And that's a wall hydrant, so it shuts the water off inside the heated enclosure, so that can be like that all winter. It's without it freezing, without danger of freezing. And then the water line is buried from the end of the boathouse there, and it used to be buried right down to the lake, but when we had all the trees blow over, it kind of messed that up. So here's where the water line is exposed now, and it goes out into the lake, and at the end of that water line there that's floating on the lake right now is a foot valve with the other stop and waste valve, so I can drain it in the fall. The reason it's floating right now, of course, is because there's no water in it, because this line is empty. I have not charged that line since the Fiona storm. Alright, that's the water systems here at the lake. I appreciate getting those questions about the water systems. You know, like I take it for granted, but I suppose if you're just seeing snippets of it here and there in the clip, you're wondering what the heck's going on. So, you know, I've got the two sources that I can draw water from, either the lake or the crock for outside water. So then we put the bored well in, and we've got good drinking water, knock on wood. So that's it. Like I say, thanks for those questions. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're showing the interest in what I'm doing here. And if you have any other questions, please set them in the comments and let me know what you think about my water systems here at the lake. And in the meantime, I sure hope you're having a great week. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're enjoying the summer, what's left of it. And we'll talk to you soon.